good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back here at the public forum at the exhibition Hydrogen Fuel Cells Europe 2022. Yes, we are back. We're not only here, we are also streaming because we have not only visitors and exhibitors from more than 20 countries, we all have visitors from all over the world. So hello, konnichiwa to all our online guests. It's nice to have you here. Every 20 minutes, we'll have a new discussion regarding hot topics in the hydrogen fuel cell business. I'm happy to have a new exhibitor here from all the way from the United States of America, from PDC Machines. We're going to discuss their core business, but also the latest hydrogen fuel cell station named SimpleFuel. For that, please welcome with me on stage Mr. Ryan Nielsen and Freddie Briggs. Thank you so much for having you here. Good afternoon. It's nice to have you here. It's your very first time here at the Hydrogen Fuel Cells Europe. What is your first impression?
My first impression is it's just great to see all these companies that were in the oil and gas field now into the hydrogen space, and it's just exciting to see a lot of these large companies.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, and you're all the way from the United States here. Freddie, is that your first time in Germany as well?
No, I'm from the UK, so for me it's a bit of a shorter commute. But yeah, it's good to be back in Germany. It's good to be doing this in person.
So I'm pretty sure everyone here is curious. What do you do? What is PDC Machines doing? So let's have a broad company introduction, please.
Yeah, so I think PDC is really a 40-year-old industrial gas company. We were started in 1977 doing compression for various different industries: chemical, petchem, semiconductor. Diaphragm compressors, as it turns out, are perfect for hydrogen in that your sort of ultra high purity requirements and high pressure. So in the last 20 years, really the majority of our business is now turned to hydrogen, and we are serving, we've got thousands of compressors globally doing different size hydrogen refueling stations. So yeah, it's a kind of the transition from industrial to hydrogen is really what the story for the last 10 years.
So that is quite interesting. So you do already have an expertise in the compression, so you know how to handle gases. And as we all know, hydrogen is an abundant gas, but it's kind of hard to find and also kind of hard to handle. I would like to know from you, how do you specifically focus on hydrogen, and what is your product range, Ryan?
Yeah, so our product range is right from the diaphragm compressors. We start at 0 bar and go all the way up to 1,000 bar. And we also have the SimpleFuel product, which is an all-in-one solution that has an electrolyzer, it has the compressor, it has the storage all in one box. And then we also scale up to the full-scale HRS stations.
Okay, so you really already are in the business of hydrogen. I want to focus more on the hydrogen fueling station. For those of you in the audience who don't know, let's talk about a hydrogen fueling system. How is a hydrogen fueling station different from a gasoline station?
So our hydrogen refueling station is, like I was saying, is an all-in-one. It produces the hydrogen right inside the box. So it's a little bit different than a petrol station where your components are all in different spaces and take up a large footprint. This is a small footprint, and everything's produced in one box.
Okay, so more details. So how does it work? I have hydrogen, how do I get energy, and why do I need a fueling station for that?
Well, if we our SimpleFuel product is basically you just hook up a power source and a water source to it, and it produces the hydrogen right inside it.
And how is that different to any other hydrogen fueling stations?
That it's all in one. It's a small footprint.
And I think what's cool about SimpleFuel is, most hydrogen today is delivered, right? It's delivered on a truck, and then you compress and store it, then you distribute it. to be able to have an all-in-one system where all you need is water and electricity, and then you create your hydrogen on site to then dispense it into a car, into a forklift. It closes the loop, so to speak, in that if your electricity comes from a renewable source, it truly is a closed loop system. To really call it green hydrogen.
Right. So if you in the audience do have any questions to Ryan or Freddie, you can raise your hand anytime. I will come down to you and I will take your question. That is also you're very invited to ask your questions now. Maybe this is the only chance you can ask all your questions about hydrogen fueling stations. I will come down to you if you have a question, okay? I'll take one question now and then we'll continue.
Hi, thank you. Simple question, cost per kg of hydrogen in the hydrogen refueling stations?
I'm not really sure of that answer, honestly.
Yeah, so it's a 70 kilowatt system. So obviously depending where your energy is coming from, but ultimately, yeah, 70 kilowatts the power need to run SimpleFuel for that 20 kilograms a day.
So I also have more detailed questions about the SimpleFuel fueling station. So I want to know, like, for what kind of vehicles can I fuel?
Sure. So right now, the Toyota Mirai and the Hyundai Nexo are a couple of vehicles that we are currently fueling, as well as all the forklifts, Toyota forklifts. We have a SimpleFuel product that we actually just delivered to the American football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. And we also were fueling all the buses for the Olympic Village at the Beijing Olympics.
That's very impressive. So you see that your product is not only designed, but also already established in all over the world. Is that right?
That's correct.
And I think the one thing to be clear, so SimpleFuel is 20 kilograms a day for the big bus stations we do, the Beijing Olympics. That's sort of our much bigger compressor, kind of the 2,000 kilograms a day. And obviously the footprint for that is 10x what SimpleFuel is. And that's but again, it's to be able to. Our aspiration is that we're bridging the gap between the small scale, the kind of the local small plant, but also being able to deliver for the much bigger commercial size fleets as well. That's really where we're trying to get to at the moment.
How long does it take to fuel a forklift or a vehicle?
So it's usually, we have two different speeds. It's either 2.5 kilograms per minute or 1 kilogram per minute is our SimpleFuel Fast product. So 5 minutes will fill a car.
I'm just very curious, and I think many people ask that. Aren't there any leaking problems, safety issues when you have a fueling station and you want to fuel hydrogen?
That's a question that we get from a lot of customers is it a safe, reliable product? And our product has a triple leak detection system, the diaphragm, and then it also has pressure and temperature indicators and a leak detection system on each head.
If you would advise a customer who would be interested in a hydrogen fueling station, what would you recommend to look at? What factors or what numbers should they look at?
I think firstly it's all about capacity. So are you trying to fill 20 buses a day and you're going to need 2,000 kilograms, or do you have a fleet of 10 forklifts and then 20 kilograms a day is fine. I think that's number one. I think that number two is obviously all around your pressure requirements. Are you trying to get to 700 bar or 350 bar? And then together with those two, we can kind of piece together whatever equipment and whatever setup you're going to need.
Why did you choose the name SimpleFuel?
Because it's simple and compact.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in our little pre-chat that you said that it's not that common to have it all together. You have the electrolyzer, you have the compressor, you have everything that you need, even the, what they're called, the nozzle, you have it all together in one. So it's kind of not a one-stop shop solution, but it's like a whole package that they get delivered and you don't have to think about where to get all the supply from.
I think when we talk to our customers, right, it's obviously the chicken and egg problem of if we do buy a hydrogen vehicle, how we're going to fuel it. So the aspiration here that it's just a plug and play. The SimpleFuel is a box that about the size of a parking space, so we can drop it in, plug in electricity, plug in water, and then essentially for your captured fleet, if forklifts or cars, whatever it may be, delivery vehicles, you're essentially ready to go for that fleet of potentially five vehicles.
That's so interesting, especially when I take into consideration that your company is coming from a not completely different, but a different business, but now shifting or focusing more on hydrogen. I would like to know about the recent development, especially focused on hydrogen applications. How has it been going?
Yeah, so I think on that pivot, so 90% of our business is hydrogen. I think we've naturally gone with the market, right? Compression, industrial gas would always be there, but hydrogen is obviously the sector that's, no pun intended, but exploding right at the moment. And I think so. What we're seeing in hydrogen is really a few things. Number one, it's the push for bigger and bigger capacity. So whereas a few years ago 1,000 kilogram station was big, now customers want 2,000 and plus for for trucking, buses, whatever it may be. I think that's number one. I think number two, what we're seeing is really the liquids coming to the fore, which we never saw before. So, I think 90% of all hydrogen in the field is gaseous hydrogen, and and being used to fill trucks and buses on the road. We're seeing the likes of Hyzon and Daimler. They're now talking about liquids. So I think the key thing in the market now is how the market reacts to that, and how can we take liquid hydrogen forward as an energy carrier as well as gaseous hydrogen.
So, do you have any expansion plans for the future?
Yeah, so we've actually just opened our facility in Munich, and we just opened our 150,000 square foot facility in Philadelphia, USA. So we've doubled our capacity. Thank you. And we have sales offices in China, Japan, and we partner with a company in Australia as well.
So would you see yourself as a global player in the hydrogen business?
Yes.
Okay, so you're here at the fair and you have a booth that is just across. What are you really here for? What are you looking for? What would you determine a successful fair for you?
I think where hydrogen is at the moment, it's really a very, very collaborative space where I think obviously every company has competitors, but ultimately every manufacturer or OEM here is ultimately here to enable the energy transition with hydrogen. So I think what's cool is that we are having a lot of collaborative discussions with what would be competitors in other industries, and so furthering our understanding to enable this industry, I think, is ultimately what we're trying to do.
Can I get an outside perspective for you? Maybe Ryan, you're from the United States. In Europe, we have some political obstacles or hurdles that's what the industry says, to enter the market and to be a more let's leave less carbon footprint. How would you compare the regulatory framework in the United States compared to Europe?
Tough question. I guess the compliances is what we're working on, and that's why we've been partnering with companies in Australia to work on the IECX compliances. We opened our facility in Munich to work on the CE compliant products. That's kind of our way of attacking that.
Do you see a particular market that has higher demand than others?
The China market's very strong right now.
Yeah.
And I think EDC has a strong share of the market in China.
Yeah, and that you mentioned already that you've been supporting the Olympic Village with your compressor, so that's also a great success for your company, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when it comes to, we just want to continue on the talking about Asian market. I think the growth and the hunger for hydrogen in China, Korea, and Japan is really exceptional. And I think it shows the advantage when state-driven incentives can come through. So we're doing a huge amount of work in China and Korea, both for really just bus refueling stations. And Japan's a bigger market for SimpleFuel, obviously with Toyota. They're looking to push out cars as well.
Do you have an idea why it is that the demand is so high in the Asian markets?
I think those three regions have recognized the ability of hydrogen to decarbonize transportation and other sectors. And I think I think I think in the US and Europe we've certainly recognized that, but I think it's China and Korea are very good at, and Japan at seeing something and moving quickly. And I think in Europe and the US we'll get there, but obviously it's just a larger challenge to get off the ground.
Thank you so much. Do you have any question? Sure.
Thank you so much, first of all, for all the information and interesting discussions till now. So I'm Priya from working for Shell Hydrogen. I've got a couple of questions. So firstly, very exciting to note about this very compact fueling design, that is all in one package from electrolyzers for the in-situ hydrogen production up and until dispensing. So my first question will be, is this more like a mobile refueler concept that you're doing? So because, you're talking about reducing the overall footprint. That is the beauty of your product. So does it work more like a mobile refueler?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know if people can hear me, but yeah, my thing's come off. The idea is that it's plug and play. So whether you put it down and it's there, but it is portable. But it's not necessarily pick up, but it's portable and movable. Because of the size.
Okay. And you also mentioned that right now you're doing only for light duty stations because 20 kg hydrogen production is what you are currently positioned at. But then with respect to future expansion and moving into heavy duty stations, do you have any time scale for these projects?
So sorry, to be clear, so 20 kilograms a day is our SimpleFuel, is our plug and play, but we'll go all the way up to 2,000 kilograms plus. So as an example, like the Beijing bus stations, they were 2,000 kilograms, and we'll do the HRS for those. So we'll do everything from the small to the big based on the customer's needs.
Okay, that's great. And the next question, you said you've just opened a facility in Munich. So is that your first entry into Europe, or does the company already?
We've had a sort of a sales office in Germany for a long time, but this is the first time we're incorporating manufacturing and service as well into Europe.
Okay, that's great. And the last question about the size of your company. What is currently the size of your company?
So we're doubling revenue every year, and as of the end of this year, we should be about 300 people, split across every continent. That's really the plan.
Okay, great. And maybe one last question also. Does all your product only come with in-situ hydrogen production, or do you also do you buy the product and you just supply the low compression, medium compression, cooling system and dispensing system? So
we're almost agnostic where the hydrogen comes from. If you want to, the SimpleFuel is very much on-site generation, but for the much bigger stations, typically that's, it can be electrolysis or it can be hydrogen delivery, and we'll do compression, distribution, whatever the customer wants.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Priya. Unfortunately, I cannot take more questions from the audience at this time, but Ryan and Freddie are really happy to answer more of your questions at their booth. So thank you so much for having you here at the fair.
Thank you.
I think it's going very good for you so far, and I wish you all the best for the upcoming days. Thank you so much for having you here.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.